I don't even know at this point how many people have died in the state from this, because I'm not sure the statistics are accurate. And apparently we just started requiring recordation of these cases in 2005, although the website suggests it's a voluntary thing, so I'm not sure what that means. But anyway. Okay, so these are some of my thoughts. And I'm thinking as chair of agriculture, but also as a physician from the Big Island. So I'll just read through these things. But rats are ubiquitous in Hawaii. Okay. Snails and slugs are ubiquitous, especially in wetter areas of Hawaii. The parasite acanthensis is widespread in Hawaii in both rats and snails and slugs. The eosinophilic meningitis related to acanthensis cases may be the tip of the iceberg. Diagnosis is still difficult, and better, more rapid tests need to be developed. In particular, testing and screening for infection without requiring lumbar puncture. Treatment is still not clear. The role of antihelminthics, such as albendazole, is not well understood. The role of steroids and the dose is also not well delineated.
Is there any kind of funding mechanism at the international level or national level that you can tap into?
I don't know about the international level. I think most of the colleagues that we're working with internationally get funding from their own countries. I know of no international-based funding. I have some funding through NIH via this IMBRI grant, but that's through UH Manoa. I have not yet applied directly to an NIH grant because of the problems of the lack of knowledge of the reviewers about rat lungworm disease. After we get this prevalence study published, I will be applying directly to the NIH. I do have a grant in right now through the COBRI program, which involves looking at waterborne diseases and catchment issues. So that has been submitted about a month ago. And the money, there's no exchange of money between CDC and myself. They offered to help us isolate these proteins at their cost. So in that way, they are funding it indirectly. And you have to realize, too, that recently last year, there were 3 cases of rat lungworm that originated in Houston, Texas, after a major flood.
The original bill had $695,000 to Hilo for the next 2 fiscal years, and you just mentioned $350,000.
Well, that's just for personnel costs per year.
Right. Okay.
So that doesn't include, if you want a detailed budget for what we would plan with the funds, I can produce that pretty quickly.
That'd be helpful. Mm-hmm. And secondly, the slide Why East Hawaii. So you were talking about water catchment. Where are we now in terms of? I noticed that over in this far right, it says Other U.S. and it's way down here. So is that pretty much what we're thinking now?
Well, yeah. Why East Hawaii? The semi-slug, which I'm sure Rob will tell us about, is also on Oahu. So why East? It was introduced more recently to Hawaii. I live on the Hamakua coast at about 1,200 feet, and 2 years ago I never saw a semi-slug. And now they're everywhere. So these slugs are spreading around the island. They're in Kona. They're pretty much everywhere.
The catchment theory makes sense. I think one of the potential driving forces is that if I had to wager, the Puna region of the island probably has the highest percentage of vegetarians and plant-based diets within the state. But as these trends grow statewide, as people try to eat healthier, eat more raw foods, eat more organic foods, I would expect that we would see this kind of start to get stirred up elsewhere also.
Yeah,
is that a concern?
Yeah, it is a big concern. And so in the last year and a half, we've had instances, and we seem to have become the rat lungworm hotline on the Big Island. People call us all the time. Friday, when this person went into the ER and was nearly comatose, I got an email from the same day from his ex-wife and from his sister in Michigan asking for help. So people contact us for assistance. And over the last year and a half or so, I've documented 10 instances where people have bought salad, commercially available, either in a store, in a restaurant, or in a farmer's market, have bought salads and found slugs in them. And so I have this documented. I can provide it to anybody who wants it. Just in December, early December, this poor young woman bought a spring roll at the farmer's market, Maku'u Market in Pahoa, and she bit into it and ate half a semi-slug. Of course, she was frantic. She calls us, and it took over a day to get a dose of albendazole because of the situation at the hospital. You know, in my mind, she should have been given albendazole right away. No questions asked. If you know when the person was infected, the risks of albendazole far exceed the risks of side effects of albendazole. And I'm sure the medical folks here would agree with that.
Similar effects occur with animals who ingest it.
Yes, and so speaking with just one vet in Waimea, last year she treated 7 horses for rat lungworm and had to put down 3. Dogs are getting infected from another veterinarian, 1 a month. And so it affects the animals the same way. Not all animals. Chickens don't get it. They love to eat slugs. We don't know if pigs can get it. We don't think they do. Other animals may, you know, there's
Domestic pets, right?
domestic pets, agricultural animals.
Is the CDC working on a PCR test?
The CDC developed the first PCR test, and we adapted it in our lab to be quantitative PCR.
But, I mean, are they providing it to people for human testing?
Yes. Based on cerebral spinal fluid, my understanding is the CDC and also the State Department of Health.
So if samples were sent to them, they can sort of confirm diagnosis?
I'm sure the Department of Health can clarify that. There's a state lab as well that does that.
Okay.
But right now, as far as I know, they're using cerebral spinal fluid.
Okay, and PCR and cerebral spinal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a little... I mean, I used to do a lot of lumbar punctures, and, you know, it's not easy.
No, and it's invasive and risky. Yeah.
Well, and given that people have high, you know, increased intracranial pressure, there's a risk of herniation, I would think. But, you know, I didn't find any reports of that. Okay. Any other comments you wanted to make right now?
I have a quick question.
Oh.
So the slide about municipal water systems and catchment systems, to what degree has the Hawaii Island Council been engaged in this issue? Have you done these similar presentations to the Hawaii County Council?
No, I'm scheduled to in March.
Okay, I think that's a part of the solution because, you know, the larger issues of municipal water, I mean, sewer systems,
I know.
us dealing with cesspools, catchments, all of that seems to me a county issue. And so we have to engage our county partners on that, and they need to be as much involved in stepping up to the table for any kinds of funding if we're going to tackle this comprehensively.
Right, okay, yeah,
Thanks.
in March.